Good morning. Today is March 27th, 2024. The time is now 9 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. I will call this meeting to order. If you do have your cell phones, if you could silence them at this time, please. If you could join us for the pledge and for the invocation.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in the invocation.
Yep.
Or you didn't?
No, you.
Okay.
I was coughing, sorry.
Oh, okay. Are you done?
Go ahead.
Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the snow that we've gotten, the amount of moisture that we have for replenishing our water sources here in Custer County. I just pray that, Lord, you pour out your blessing upon the citizens of this county, that you'd bless them, that you keep them safe, that you watch over them today and watch over these proceedings. Just provide us the wisdom and the grace that we need as we move this county forward. And I pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. We get a roll call, Kelly.
Commissioner Day,
Present.
Commissioner Kanda.
Here.
Commissioner Epp,
Present.
and clerk to the board, Kelly Camper present.
All right, and audience introductions. We'll start over here.
I'm Anthony Wheeler.
What?
Mike Chesser.
Tony Wilcox,
Stephen Wilcox. John Van Dorn. James Gilbert.
Nadine Peterson,
Rob Canterbury.
And then we do have 4 or 5 online. We've got Deb Adams, Debbie, Jeff, John Mellett, Peggy Quint, and VR. If anyone goes to speak later, if you could please identify yourself for the record, that would be great.
And Bartlett just walked in.
And Ann Bartlett is here. Good morning, ma'am.
good morning.
Any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, the proclamation to proclaim dispatchers as first responders. Rich Smith, the sheriff, had asked me to originally put it on this one and then realized he was gonna be gone and one of the dispatchers couldn't make it, so he's asked us to push that out to the 1st of April meeting, so that'd be April 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
No fooling?
Oh,
You said April 1st.
First meeting.
first meeting in April 3rd.
Okay.
I was hoping April 1st was our first BOCC meeting. I had a lot of things
Planned for
planned for that,
that.
but I'll have to maybe wait for someday when that hits, right? So that's other ones, that's all I have.
Okay, anything from you, sir?
No.
All right, so that one will go to April 3rd. Approval of the minutes for March 20th.
I move we accept the minutes from March 20th meeting.
Second it.
Okay, any discussion on that?
None here.
No, sir.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Those in favor of approving the minutes from the March 20th meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. I've never had them not approved, so glad they started to vote. Commissioner items, Commissioner Kanda.
Lots of snow plowing since I saw you last. And still more to do. Good to have it. No other items to update anybody with. We had a great, and we'll talk about later, a town hall meeting basically with Liberty Rocks, and we'll get into a resulting resolution because of that. And also the TV towers are proceeding, or the contract on that's proceeding as planned. They shipped the stuff to the vendor. He's doing his tests, so we'll know as soon as I get them time that they'll be up there. I'll let you know. other thing I want to ask, we need some time. April 4th is suggested to go out to the airport. I mentioned the other day to have a meeting on discussing with the board, their strategic plan, their whole outlook, get a briefing from them like we did last year. So the 4th of April, if you can put that on your calendar, we'll do it.
Okay,
And that's all I got for now.
Commissioner,
CIC training dates coming up for our, financial software is April 8th and 9th, accounts payable, and they'll start the HR review. And then April 15th, 17th, and 18th, we'll have payroll training and we'll finish the HR module review, so. So we got that CCI meeting dates, that's May 28th, 29th, and 30th. We need to get, those reservations made, so we can get the discounted motel rooms.
So you're looking at our new BOCC admin.
I had not.
Book 'em.
Yeah, I'll have him book
Yeah,
it
so,
as soon as he's got a computer in his hand.
Has he been introduced to Vernon? I know he
Yeah.
has.
I'll walk into those reservations and I'll forward you, Mike, the email on that. But, I'm not gonna attend, I'm gonna stay back, sign checks, we keep working on the financial stuff, but I have asked our, HR manager to step in my spot and take that
Yeah,
and go and start developing those relationships with other commissioners, HR people,
that's a good idea.
um,
And that reminds me, it's a
administrators.
good, very good idea. We need to remember, we had Vince going to the last one, he had to bail out. Maybe it'd be good to get him planning to go.
okay.
Okay, yeah, ask him if he wants to go.
And this one here, I don't believe cars is part of this one. Where is it? We could
I
check
don't
and
know.
find out.
So-
Make sure I know
So,
that may be true this time.
Okay, we had the Fremont County Jail tour last Wednesday. They've got capacity for around 200 people, but they're filled up to capacity right now of like 87, 88. 2 people from Custer County are currently there. They sleep on a 3-inch mat that if they damage, they pay for. Not much TV allowed there. They get, if they do good behavior, they get 7 days a month, comes off their sentence. They can, do laundry. They don't allow anybody outside the secure areas anymore since the last jailbreak they had. A couple guys, I guess, were allowed to do trash or something, and
They were trustees.
yeah, trustees. They get 10 hours outside their cell in a common area, where they all congregate. Kind of, they're firm but fair. We walked around with the captain and I don't know who the other guy was underneath him, but so saw that whole process, how they're booked in, what they go through. So it's, they don't make it, too nice in there, so I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life in there or even 2 days in there, so. Just wanted to report that back to you guys, and then we had a SEPA meeting yesterday, which is Colorado Emergency Planning. Thing, basically went through. What the county's needs are and what it looks like for different types of emergencies. John Van Dorn was there for the tourism board. Had a good group of people, but the last time this happened was in 2020 and there was only 2 people in that whole group that were left. To start over, so we've got
Me and Christy Coleman.
yeah, so we've got some formalizing of a lot of plans and workflows to do, so. That's where we're at with that, so.
Might mention, FreeCom. Experience we had with, the OEM.
Oh, not FreeCom,
Not
but
FreeCom,
but,
they decided to
Fremont
change it
County
around Fremont
OEM.
County, OEM.
so we visited the OEM and Michael, who runs the OEM over there, and then the other county manager over there. they have a lot of resources that they are willing to let us use if we need it, if they're not using it, so cell on wheels, generators. They have a bunch of trailers filled with roadsides, whatever we need, they've got a lot of it, they've got a lot of resources built up, so it was good to tour their facility and start communicating with them, so.
Yeah, we never did bring that up at the OEM meeting. They have a hotspot in the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
That we could have made sure we included in some of the stuff.
and then
Robin,
talking to Vernon, we've got FirstNet, AT&T, they can have us, if they're not, I think they have 12 or 14, 15 in the state, something like this, but they have a truck, it gets its signal from satellite, and then they can send out a cell signal, so if our cells go down here, they usually can respond within 12 hours, AT&T can, so. So it's good to know, it's good to have, it won't take care of Verizon or T-Mobile, but those of you with AT&T will have a benefit.
And is that for all AT&T or just the FirstNet?
FirstNet will get first dibs, and then whatever's left available to get the rest of it, so.
Yeah.
Whatever's available, so.
Then I see Michael also sent us a lot of his.
Plans that he's put together,
And
yes, sir.
we could pilfer and tweak our county as well.
No. No, it was good to know what he's got, so we don't necessarily double up. We need to maybe get some things that he doesn't have. We're gonna have this fuel tanker coming that he doesn't have access to, so that'll be kind of nice.
Yeah.
So just share the resources around from county to county.
so back to the CCI thing, we're gonna go, we're gonna have our board meeting and we'll be up there.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll switch that to Tuesday morning, so we can approve that AP. And then you guys can head on up.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, sir?
No, there. I
All right.
think that's enough.
So I guess I would say, we approved the, paying our share of the
Yeah.
deputy DA's legal fees. Since then, there's another invoice that just came in, and I believe that motion was for a specific amount. Our share has now went up. So probably for next week, Kelly, if we could get that on the agenda to modify that, so that can get put in on the AP run.
And that amount was around $301, I think, if I remember right.
The increase,
Yeah,
yes, so our share now is 900 and change.
Okay.
I won't tell you, I know it's nine something, I believe.
606, some.
So. And then I don't know if anyone has seen it or become aware of it. KOAA did a piece the other day.
Very good.
They interviewed, Mark Carmel.
And they called me up and asked me if we had an update, because they were looking to explain to everybody and even the whole 9 yards, and Mark did a great job of the
The update was on,
broadband program,
And the bead
the grants and our
grants
process
that
and how
are
we're handling it.
opening up, so.
Yeah, it was really very good, and the guy that did the interview did a good job.
I didn't see it initially, my older sister in Canyon actually saw it and let me know about it, but, it seemed like a nice little piece.
That was.
So, I wanted to mention that, and then, yes, that is everything that I will use to bring forward. You guys have brought everything else, so, again, it's not here. Do you have anything for us today, Kelly?
Did we have the all hands meeting in between? Or did we? How do we fit that? I wrote that down.
That was.
Maybe that was for the follow on. I had that listed, just our own internal stuff.
Yeah, trying to think the date
I
that.
can't remember the
took
date
place.
of that either, was that before or after the last meeting?
It was before the last.
I think it was.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday then. Send it out of sequence.
And you have nothing, so any unfinished business, we have none, I believe. New business. He is, yes, Lisa is here, I believe, we have Redlands Accounting and Advisory LLC report. Lisa?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can.
You made good.
Okay, so I was up last week and we started working on the audit preparation for Custer County. I came up Monday, left Friday, and then I'll be back, I believe, the week of April 7th. And I think we're on track to finish everything up, hopefully by the middle of April, but probably at least by April 30th, so that the auditor can get a start on that audit around the beginning of May. I've started out working on the liability side of the balance sheet and going through and making sure all the accounts payable are have the proper cutoff at the end of the year, and have started working on receivables a little bit too. Part of that work will be working on leases also in the next week. I've started getting some of that information so that we can make sure all that information is ready for the auditor. And then I'm also putting together lists of what's in accounts payable, so those can just be handed off to the auditor when they get there, and they could actually test the balances that are already in the trial balance instead of going back and trying to recreate what should be there, which should save significant time. Everybody's been really cooperative with me and given me the information that I've needed. So far it's been pretty good. And I'm willing to answer any questions you guys have too.
So just I had a conversation with, Sam DiNardo and relayed this both to Vernon and Lisa. He basically needs 60 days once he gets, our packet of information. So May 1st then makes it, July 1st. And then he'll have a report to us around the our second meeting or our first meeting, hopefully in July. And then we have till July 31st. To hand it over to the state, and that meets the deadline then, so. Even May 1st, we probably have even a couple weeks leeway there, but our goal is May 1st. We're handing it over to Sam DiNardo, our auditor, and going from there, so. That's all I have to add to that, but any questions from anybody else, it's more than welcome, so.
Just quick, Lisa, how are you coming on the credit cards?
On the credit cards, when I was up last week, I think Vernon was working on those quite a bit. And then that'll be part of looking at the liabilities at the end of the year too for audit preparation.
Yeah, I'm just worried that we need to, I don't know how far back it has to go. I think you said 22, 2011.
So Kirkpatrick's frozen in time now, so going back through Kirkpatrick, so what we need to do is we need to finish up UMB, and we're looking for some receipts left there. So we've got Mike Chesser looking through all of the paperwork that we found in the finance office to see what we can find for receipts, or matching up everything that we've got about $10,000 worth of receipts we need to find, dig up, find where they're at, call around to
Yeah,
wherever.
Kirkpatrick.
No, this
Just
is for
UMB.
UMB.
We don't know.
Kirkpatrick will have to go back through probably after the audit's over, or as far as our getting prepared for the audit and handing it over.
So we'll have enough information to make the audit pass then, without knowing
Well,
that balance yet.
we've paid for everything that's on the,
Well,
we'll have
paid
to
it.
go back through, it's all paid, so we'll have to go back through and make sure that everything. Then we'll have to start dividing and pulling Kirkpatrick apart and going, who owes what out of what department? Where did we start going wrong and what all happened, so,
And whether it's all accountable.
yep,
Okay. That's important.
it is
That was a
important,
key one.
but everything will have to be one piece.
You,
at a
you
time.
good with that, Lisa? You're on top?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're standing by.
So,
Any questions online?
I'm not seeing any, do we have any questions as far as that goes from, anyone here? All right, thank you, Lisa, I appreciate it, and, appreciate all the work you've been doing for us, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Next item would be the consideration of the accounts payable.
Okay, I went through it, earlier this morning, but, I didn't have any major questions, so I move we accept the report grand total of $540,014.41.
I'll second that. The big ones in here, for the public is, payroll. We made a $13,000 payment to Fremont County Sheriff's. It's for the February 24 inmate housing. Otherwise, everything is roughly less than $5,000, other than payroll, Social Security Administration. There was dispatch services for Q2 of 48,000. Dispatch services cost the county roughly $200,000 a year, and we pay that out quarterly. And that's. Well, that's all.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions.
Okay, the one I had earlier, I asked and had that answered, it was just the way one of these, was listed on here in the description, it was a little confusing, so. Okay, so I have a motion on the floor, to approve the accounts payable in the sum of $540,014.41. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries. We do have the annual West Custer County Library District Report. You made it in time.
Nice to see you.
Yes.
Good morning.
So you should have an infographic that we sent you that looks like this.
Yeah.
Is this in your packet?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so we thought this was a much more entertaining way to tell you what's been going on at the library. So
Yeah, so the main thing, really what we saw in 2023 was just a huge uptick in everything, essentially our annual visitors, our circulation statistics, so what people are checking out from the library, our program attendance, everything has grown and increased substantially over the last year, which is really exciting, but also brings a lot of new challenges. So, but yeah, everything's going really well. We're seeing a lot more engagement. People are excited about what we're offering and new things we're bringing to the library. Couple exciting things we got in 2023. We did our now annual Pi Day fundraiser that we're doing on March 14th, Pi Day. Last year, we raised money to purchase outdoor equipment for checkout. So a tent, trekking poles, micro spikes, camp cook set, these kinds of things. We raised enough money to be able to buy a bunch of outdoor equipment, and then people are excited about that. So one of the cool things we were able to do last year.
do we want to say about this year?
Well, but this is the 2023
Ah,
report.
okay.
so-
This year, they'll okay.
So,
But no, we did, it went really well this year too, and we're gonna buy, just because it's so exciting, we have to
Yeah.
brag about it. We're gonna buy an annual pass to the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park. That will be, people can check it out with their library card, like they would a book. And it will get 4 people in to the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park for free. So, every day of the year, so.
So you just gotta come by and get in line to get it. Huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
come in with your library card and borrow that, and you can get into the park for free. So,
Zoo passes, you guys have one for Pueblo, correct, but not for Springs?
Right,
Because that's a very expensive one, they don't.
and they weren't
Cooperate.
interested, they
Yeah.
were not interested in our overtures.
I asked them, because that was one of our ideas for this year, and they just told us a flat out no. It wasn't even a money thing, they just said, we don't do that, so
That's sad.
it was very disappointing, yeah.
How many card holders do you have total?
It's about 2,600, give or take, actually it's over 2,600.
I think our active numbers are a little below that, though, some of those are, I think are expired ones.
Okay, we did a big purge.
I know, I'm working on
We're working on the
the
purge.
FLAR right now,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like-
right, okay.
Yeah, so a little over 2,000 of people who are actively using the library.
No, this is great. This is perfect. I mean, how often do you have to get a fax machine?
Gosh, people send a lot of
Looking at you,
faxes in
John.
this county, so. And I think we are the only public fax machine now.
Fax and
so-
print in the county,
Okay.
So yeah, that's one of the majorly used services is the printing and faxing and scanning and copying services, so.
I might also mention you guys were part of that Channel 5, that KOAA report as far as the booth for telehealth that you're developing. So you guys were on that report for a little bit.
Yeah, you want to talk about that grant?
we were gonna just talk briefly about a couple of major grants that we got last year. One was from the Anschutz Family Foundation to buy that soundproof booth. It's like a phone booth that's now in the library. It's soundproof. You can it's for telehealth appointments. It's for legal appointments. We have the free legal clinic that we sponsor once a month for people. Behavioral health appointments, et cetera. It
Any
comes
sort
with
of-
any sort of
Video call that you want to be a little bit more private.
right, because we don't have the proper enough private space. So the telehealth booth, and then we also got a grant to buy kits for checkout that include laptops, hotspots, pulse oximeters, blood pressure cuff, et cetera. So,
Webcam.
yeah, so that wherever, even if you can't and don't want to come into the library to do it, you can check out a kit to do a telehealth appointment at home. So you'll be hearing from me, all of you gentlemen, because we have, I'm going to be doing a rollout event in probably very end of April, beginning of May to show all that stuff off.
Okay.
So. And the other grant that we got one from the Next 50 initiative for, which is for older adults. We got a grant to buy reminisce kits, which are for use with people who are maybe have Alzheimer's or dementia, don't speak really well, but it's a long-term memory, tactile, various ways to have
Sensory
conversations.
kits.
Yeah, sensory thing to have conversations with people who maybe don't have their language skills anymore. And those are for checkout too. And the little kids really like them because they really like those.
They've
There's
got
a
puppets.
yeah, they have a puppet, they have, a little dog and a little puppy and a kitty, and the little kids really like them.
Okay.
Any other questions on any of this?
One kind of in regards to that last piece, do you guys have, audiobooks?
Yes.
Okay. I know a couple of people that use that, they generally use like a mail service or something, I believe.
We
for
have
that.
both audiobooks on DVD for those people who still have DVDs, and we also have e-audiobooks that you can download onto your phone.
And also the courier system that we use to borrow materials from other libraries in the state expanded significantly for us in the past year. So what's available has gosh, I don't even know, tripled,
I-
quadrupled in size, probably more than that.
You
of
know, all the
what you
front,
can
the big
order,
front
so.
range libraries, there's pretty much anything. We can get pretty much anything.
Because obviously we are limited by our space here, but there are so many resources available throughout the state. So if someone who's interested in audiobooks, there are tons and tons out there to choose from, so.
If someone were interested in getting a book into your library, what's
They
that
would
about?
fill out a suggestion slip, which are at the front desk, and it goes to Jenna, who does our collections.
Or you can send an email to the front desk and those all get forwarded to me and I look into if I can purchase it or not and. You know, if it aligns with our collection policy and everything. But I love recommendations because
Mhm.
that helps me know what people are interested in the community, so.
What are you looking towards doing this year?
Yeah, if we
Why are
get
we
this,
not
Yeah,
doing this?
well, we're looking forward to rolling out the telehealth, and we think that's gonna take a while to get going.
Okay.
I also want, on my list is to get the workforce people who are in Fremont. They are supposed to represent Custer County. We actually have no services up here from them.
Hmm.
So workforce is on my list. That's gonna be third and fourth quarter of this year. And we have some tech upgrades that we are planning to do for our computers. We're currently running Microsoft 2016. We're gonna update it to a more current Microsoft version. And there was something else. What else is on my tech? We're kind of cross-eyed. We're kind of blown away by our own success here right now. I hope I
I'm
didn't.
like, I'm over here ordering pickleball
Yeah. We're gonna
sets.
a
so
pickleball
I
to
don't-
check out.
I don't know
Oh,
what you're
great.
working on, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a lot of requests for pickleball paddles and balls and everything, so.
We have-
ordered
and
some-
we-
ordered some sets that people can check out.
And we have
so.
other sports equipment to check.
Where are
out.
they playing?
There's the courts down in Silver
Coach over
Cliff,
here in
yeah.
Silver Cliff, right?
And then I think there's a
Mhm.
group that plays at Lang Hall too.
Oh, yeah.
There is an indoor one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If
So
they used it right by your place, it'd block off Main Street. So. There is a lot of interest in that these days.
Definitely.
do you have to put a deposit down to rent, to pull
No.
that stuff out?
No,
All free with your library card.
Okay. And it's coming back, so you don't.
Yeah,
not-
we've had almost no issue, you know, I mean, stuff gets broken or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
that happens, but yeah, we've had almost no issue with any of that equipment, the more expensive stuff getting returned, so.
Awesome.
yeah, we have a telescope that goes out pretty regularly, particularly in the summertime, and it was donated to us. It's a really nice telescope, and it's always come back.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool, well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Down the line.
Thank you. Good report. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Tried to be a little more enthusiastic.
I'll do my best. All right.
Next item would be the consideration of resolution 24-04, prioritizing resources. And we did not have any copies of this out, correct? Would you gentlemen like for me to read this?
Yeah, you better bring it up again. Bring it.
So, we visited this shortly a week or two ago, and, I will read this resolution that's before us now. Custer County Resolution number 24-04. A resolution recognizing Custer County's limited resources and prioritizing Custer County citizens. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Custer County, Colorado is concerned with the potential impacts of millions of migrants illegally crossing our nation's southern border and then flowing into Colorado's Denver metro area, potentially spilling over into smaller, more rural Colorado counties. And whereas Denver counts the highest number of illegal aliens per capita of any large city in the nation, and the mayor of Denver on January 31st, 2024 stated that this is both a humanitarian crisis for the individuals that are arriving, and it's a fiscal crisis for the cities that are serving. Those two crises are coming to a head right now. And whereas Custer County, which offers abundant sunshine and wide open spaces, lacks the human services, public health, law enforcement, and housing resources and infrastructure to address the impacts of any measurable influx of migrants who entered our nation illegally. And whereas in fiscal year 2023, United States Customs and Border Protection reported more than 3.2 million migrant encounters nationwide. And whereas by July 2023, United States Customs and Border Protection reported that it experienced more than 7 million encounters with migrants crossing the border since January of 2021, a number nearly 20% higher than the total population of Colorado. And whereas the Border Patrol processed more migrants who entered the United States illegally in December 2023 than in any other month in the agency's history. And whereas the executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting the states and citizens, including the immigration laws that are currently in place. And whereas the current administration has failed to enforce those laws, resulting in an unprecedented influx of illegal immigrants entering the United States. And whereas the governors of 22 states have concurred that as the federal government has abdicated its constitutional responsibility to secure our borders, an opinion shared by this Board of County Commissioners through Custer County status as a constitutional subdivision of the government of the state of Colorado. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed by the County Commissioners of Custer County that Custer County is unable to financially or physically accommodate an influx of illegal immigrants into the county. Further, let it be known, the Custer County Commissioners' thoughts and prayers are with those illegal immigrants needing resources Custer County is unable to provide. Finally, the county commissioners recommit themselves to the endeavor of providing the constitutional services of land use, social services, roads and bridges, law enforcement, and public health services to the citizens who reside legally within county borders. And if voted to, approved and adopted this 27th day of March, 2024 at West Cliff, Colorado. With signature lines.
Okay, so get the good discussion going. I move we adopt resolution number 2404.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I will second.
I have a motion on the floor to adopt Custer County Resolution number 2404. Discussion here at the table.
I guess I understand this is similar to Fremont County's El Paso County, and there was a couple others that had similar, that you mentioned one earlier.
And Silver Cliff has adopted it as well.
Yeah, Silver Cliff too.
Anything else from here at the table?
Alamosa's also, and I think it's today, they had their meetings on Wednesdays as well, but they're considering something of the same. They are using different whereases, but
I guess they called it, and others have called it, and we can too, I guess, we're a non-sanctuary county, I guess. How they build it.
So this is what, and this isn't, so their meeting started at 8:30 Alamosa's. And their last statement in their resolution says, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Alamosa County that the Alamosa County Board of County Commissioners declared that Alamosa County is not a sanctuary county and will not open shelters or provide services other than emergency services to uninvited migrants and or illegal immigrants that may arrive in unincorporated Alamosa County. Alamosa County will continue to prioritize the needs of our local citizens. Sitting in SEPA, it became very clear that at most, we have about 48 hours that we could provide emergency, shelter.
In a time of a fire, a flood, or any emergency.
Any emergency that we may have, and that was pretty abundantly clear. Now with volunteers and stuff, you could probably expand that a little, but it's gonna quickly, gonna overwhelm a system, pretty quick here. So.
I would agree.
Kind of my thoughts.
At the same time, we need to, I feel this is a good document, but at the same time, we need to check our resources. We need to prepare for any type of a situation that we might encounter. Not just say, we don't agree, we're not gonna take them, and then just close our eyes and say, well, nobody's coming as well. You know, the snowstorm we had 2 weeks ago, if we had people that were out in the elements, would not be a good situation. And I know you've been working on that quite a bit too, trying to work with OEM and figure out just what we can and cannot do, which is very limited.
No, and our OEM is working on, you know, if they get dropped off at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, if it would happen, you know, because I've asked them and so prepare for it. If it happens, we need to take care of these people. We don't want to just leave them on the street. We need to take care of them. We need to show some compassion. How do we take care of them? How do we protect their needs or prepare for their needs? And just like we try to do in this community, I think, a lot of time it's neighbor to neighbor, and then where do we go from there and how do we get them to a place that can provide more services than what we can provide, more shelter than we can provide. So yeah, we are working on that. OEM's working on that. The sheriff has started thinking about it and what are they gonna do and are they gonna need additional resources or all that. I thought it interesting, Alamosa made the comment that Carbondale and Denver plan on closing their shelters in April and May of this year, so I don't know what that's going to do. I can't predict the future. I don't have a magic ball. All I can do is prepare. All I think we can do is prepare and move forward.
The only other thing you would do, I mean, whatever resource, put them on a bus and take them back. Or take them somewhere, we can't put them up. Anyway, thoughts?
Yeah.
I like that, I like it, I like the resolution.
Anything else from the table?
Not at the moment.
Any public comment on this issue?
We are under no obligation, as far as I'm concerned.
Just state your name first,
I'm
please.
sorry, Jim Wilde.
All right, thank you, sir.
We are under no obligation to do anything to help them at all. Every one of them is a criminal. It's a criminal act to cross the country border without permission. And every one of them is a criminal, they should be treated as such. And rather than putting them up in our prisons and paying for them, they need to be deported immediately. We have the right to protect our borders, we have the right to protect our homes. And I will exercise that right.
Thank you, sir.
So, the way I understand this, this does not preclude.
Name, please.
Our John Van Dorn. This does
Thanks,
not
John.
preclude our churches from taking action here. For instance, Lang Hall could probably, on an emergency basis, house 100 people. And has bathroom facilities and kitchen facilities. So the churches can come together in a humanitarian way. And while we seek help from our border patrol people to take care of these people and maybe escort them out of the country. But we're certainly not gonna let them die on the streets of Custer County.
Yeah, you certainly can do that. Absolutely. Good point, John. And, when you use the right terminology, the sheriff, I know, we've talked with him, he's in support of this. And if they trespass, then somebody would have to issue a complaint like Jim, if you did, or anybody, then he would take them to do that and take them to the right place to deport them or to deal with the border patrol. You know, that's our position, be my position. It's a good point, John. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Wheeler, this is a huge problem. Thank God not for us yet. This humanitarian effort to the churches is where these things belong, but they don't belong in the county, they don't belong in the country. So we have so-called sanctuary cities, which is unconstitutional because they're not upholding the Constitution. Our responsibility would be to transport them out of the county into one of those places that claim they want them. That's our responsibility. So it's a transportation issue, probably through the sheriff's office, because it's also a safety issue. A civilian tried to transport them. So it would have to be a law enforcement transportation issue.
Thank you, sir.
I would go one step further too. I would,
I'm sorry,
Not a discussion yet.
one shot.
oh, okay.
So, if you have something else to bring, you can bring it at the public comment at the very end. All right, so. I think James had your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the word whereas, to me, anything following whereas is implied to be truthful as opposed to not. So this resolution contains a lot of whereases, some of which I do not believe are truthful and should probably be taken off. For instance, the whereas about failed to enforce the laws, that implies no laws are being enforced. That's not true. The other question I have with regard to this is there's a lot of data quoted. There's no references to that data, so there's no way to check the veracity of any of those whereases. Thirdly, you talk a lot about illegal immigrants and illegal aliens, et cetera, et cetera. What about the legal ones? What if the legal ones are, decide to come here? Are you gonna kick them out too? How are you gonna tell the difference? How can you, possibly, administer this resolution, which by the way has no force of law, so you can't administrate it. The statement about 22 governors concurred that the federal government has abdicated its responsibility. What governors? I would bet you money that the governors of California, Arizona, and New Mexico probably have not. It's only the governor of Texas and his archaic behavior, who is shipping like cattle these people to wherever he wants to with no notice. And one thing that's going to likely happen is within the issues of cities and states that are strapped, because many migrants are being shipped there, they may take executive or legislative action to distribute those migrants throughout their state. If they do that, we have no standing to resist that. We are obligated to follow the administrative or legislative actions of the state. And as such, there are resources available to then accommodate that issue from the federal government and from the state government. Carbondale got $250,000. Denver's gotten $11 million to accommodate these people. So saying we can't do this is really a we won't do this. And the statement that all these people are criminals is a bald-faced lie and is not particularly Christian and not particularly American. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here in the room?
I got this letter. Want me to read it now?
Please do.
So this was from Darla Kenny Scholes. She's asked to please read aloud into the minutes for 3/27/24. Dear BOCC, the degree in which this board allows a tiny fraction of the residents here to grab them by the ear and drag them this way and that regarding a wide variety of non-relevant issues and politically charged baseless hype is ridiculously shocking. It seems to always be the faith over fear crowd spun into a definite fear-mongering frenzy every month who cost the rest of the residents here time, money, and resources with the constant demand that every potential fear of the moment be met with a resolution. Where is their faith that it has failed them? And how does the impotent resolution mill dispel their fears? Resolution 24-04 to be voted on 3/27/24 regarding prioritizing resources is one such example and includes in its language opinions rather than proven facts, such as whereas the current administration has failed to enforce those laws and has even arguably violated them, resulting in an unprecedented influx of illegal immigrants entering the United States, and whereas the governors of 22 states have concurred that as the federal government has abdicated its constitutional responsibility to secure our borders, an opinion shared by this Board of County Commissioners through Custer County's status as a constitutional subdivision of the government of the state of Colorado. There are no buses of migrants chugging their way through hardscrabble and into Custer County. I'm going to skip resolution 2405 because that's not the motion on the table. We'll come back to that when that motion is up or we vote on it. So I'm gonna leave that paragraph out and I'll read that next one. And then she continues, and come on, if I have a neighbor dispute situation where I live, should I ask the county commissioner to draft a resolution stating that Custer County residents should behave neighborly at all times? Every potential woe in the world should not be addressed as county business. Enough already. How about we get some real work done here that actually benefits the residents? Move forward on real issues that actually impact the citizens of Custer County. There are plenty of local topics to choose from. Stop this useless resolution nonsense. I've never seen a county function this way, and I will not sit quietly on the sidelines while a few impose their political will on the majority. I'm out of town at the moment and therefore unable to attend the meeting during which these examples of wasteful resolutions will be voted upon. So I respectfully ask that this email be read into the minutes during public comment on these items. Thank you for doing so. Sincerely, Darla Kenny Scholes, full-time Custer County resident.
Thank you. Anyone else? Not seeing any hands online. So I do have a motion on the floor to adopt Custer County Resolution number 24-04. Those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Aye. That motion does carry. Next item would be the consideration of resolution 24-05, removing pornography from Custer County.
Okay, I'll be glad to put that on the agenda and I'll speak to that.
I'll let you read. I got kind of dry during the last. You would like to present that?
Yeah, I will. Okay, just to give some background, because there's some people that didn't attend, the meeting that we had on Thursday. It turned into a very good meeting with about 80 people there or more. And so as a result of that, I took this forward. And the way it evolved was by way of Ricky Schroeder, and some people have heard of him, some have not. Ricky was a child actor that started at the age of 8, turns out. Did a lot of stuff in Hollywood, a lot of sitcoms, or not sitcoms, but situation series. And then later on moved into, in his later adult life, Lonesome Dove was one of his movies, for example, and then moved from there on into documentaries. He became, as a result of his childhood and the way the Hollywood crowd treated children in those days, and even today, it changed him, and he evolved and learned by that, and actually has picked up the crusade to do a project that he was doing documentaries in Afghanistan initially on the Afghan war, and followed the fighting forces over there as they were trying to secure the elections for Afghanistan to keep them free so they could vote. He followed a tactical unit through that process from the beginning of planning in the Pentagon to following the logistics trail and in battle with them with bullets flying. That's where we came into the picture. That's how he met me and my son. My son was the quarterback, they called him. He was the ops officer for that tactical group. And as a result, sponsored him to work with the IDF in Israel and some other things as well. That developed a friendship. And in the process, in parallel, Ricky became a very patriotic person and a very solid Christian at heart. And as a result, picked up the banner that noted that, I'll use this word that he used, he saw internet pornography becoming an imminent threat to public welfare. And so based on that, he picked that up as a project in order to pick out what he called a switch. Let's get a switch to turn off for the Colorado residents the right to choose whether pornography should be in their home or not. And he's looking at it similarly to how we treat alcohol. We ban alcohol for children under the age of 18. We treat it the same for 21, I should say. We also do cigarettes similarly. Anything that affects the growth of our young kids or gives the parental family, the parents, the right to opt out of receiving it. It wasn't too big an issue until the internet came along, because now it's hard to find that switch to turn it off. If you turn it off, in order to turn it off into your home, there are many much access through different ISPs, different sites, and even in the ones you wouldn't expect, like YouTube and other open sources of media like Facebook and that kind of thing. Even our email, I get it once in a while as well. And when we get the call to get a text from a phone call, and all of a sudden something pornographic shows up. So how do you handle that? We came up with the project and came to present his thoughts and how you might treat that and give the parents the ability to turn off pornography to their homes, or and then maybe at a bigger piece of it. So that evolved into a resolution. And I'm going to read that resolution for everybody to understand and hear. And then hopefully if we do pass this, it's a process that wants to involve all the counties. Ricky Schroeder lives in Colorado. He owns a ranch. He actually came to Colorado when he was 21 or 18 years old and bought his first piece of ground and has been here with it ever since, and cares about the United States, the country and the county and his living. So here's what he brought forward, and this is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners, a political subdivision of the state of Colorado to ban delivery of internet pornography to minor children under the age of 18. Whereas, give the good whereas. Owners of internet and social media organizations that provide pornographic materials on the internet for public viewing do not police current laws that restrict minor children under the age of 18 from accessing or viewing pornographic materials. I want to stop there just for a second. The point that he made there is because of the internet, there have been people, all the internet providers were given the choice. You must check the age of a person. And how do you do that? There's a button in there and all you do is click it. Who clicks it? You don't know whether the parent does or or it could be anybody. And so what are the parental controls? How do you do that? And so it turns out there's some states that are now grabbing a hold of that. And his view is to work with all of them. He's actually going to the state of Georgia this next week to the biggest county just north of Atlanta to understand they're the next county. So he's hoping to get all rural counties across the United States engaged. But he's starting with us, historically, this county. Whereas internet pornography has become increasingly available to children under 13 years of age and teenagers under the age of 18. And whereas studies show that pornographic materials have far-reaching, harmful, emotional, and negative psychological effects on children under the age of 18, hence the establishment of laws of the United States that prohibit minor children from consuming pornography. And those are studies, just as an aside, that have proven that there's more dopamine released in your brain than by methane or methanol. I should say not methane. Methanol. Whereas studies further show that internet pornography targeting minor children is permeating American society, undermining youth and family development, and causing an increase in violent crime and sexual assault. And whereas because existing laws prohibiting underage consumption of pornography are willfully and wantonly violated without consequence, it is reasonable to conclude that stronger laws are urgently needed. And whereas it is in the interest of Custer County and all the towns, cities, and counties in the state of Colorado to advocate for state and national legislation that imposes penalties against owners of internet websites and social media platforms that fail to put in place a mechanism to protect minor children from pornography. Whereas any organization that owns an internet website, social media platform, and is a content provider of pornography must include a mechanism on the website that prevents children under the age of 18 from viewing said content unless valid age verification proof is presented. This is a quick aside on the study and whether it's working or not. There are states that are working that switch to make those states provide laws that enforce the age limit. One of them is Texas, as we've heard before. Two others are Arkansas and Alabama, I think was another that have actually passed Senate Bill Texas House Bill 1181 is actually done that, and they did pass that in Texas. And as a point of fact, one of the porn sites that exists today is called X-Hamster. It says, please be informed, dear visitors, that was trying to get into that site, but it informed the X-Hamster platform has been temporarily restricted for all our visitors located in the state of Texas. This temporary restriction has been decided due to many uncertainties surrounding the Texas House bill. Rest assured that we are monitoring the situation closely and will make all reasonable efforts to restore access to the Hamster platform. Thanks for your understanding. The ability to have the switch is there, but there are issues, and that's where we get into the rest of the bill or the resolution. Whereas the residents and visitors of Custer County must be empowered to opt out of pornography access within their premises and on their mobile devices. And whereas the Board of Custer County Commissioners is committed to fostering a safe and wholesome environment for our community while respecting individual freedoms and rights, including parental rights to regulate and prohibit minor children from accessing unlawful pornographic material or content. Now, wherefore it be resolved that the Board of Custer County Commissioners does hereby prohibit the delivery of internet pornography within the limits of Custer County, Colorado to minor children under the age of 18. And now, therefore, it be further resolved that the Board of Custer County Commissioners recognize that enforceable laws with civil penalties must be enacted that requires owners of an internet website or social media platform delivering pornographic content to the public to establish a mechanism to prohibit use by children without age verification and to enable parental opt-out controls to prevent pornographic material from being delivered to their premises, businesses, computer, or mobile devices. And now let it be further resolved that the Board of Custer County Commissioners encourage other towns, cities, and counties of the state of Colorado to advocate together for state and national legislation with technical solutions to ensure that the sanctity of childhood and youth development are protected and targeting of pornography to children is prohibited and parental controls are instituted. In other words, provide the switch to turn off or to turn back on, opt back out of this and turn it on if you're, if you prove that you are over the age of 18. So that's the resolution if we adopt it this day, the 27th day of March. That is the resolution. And I think it covers the gamut and if we do pass it, I will be happy to represent the board. And we've been, I think, have the possibility of taking it to the state assembly and reading it. We can't, it's too late to get it on for discussion at the assembly to vote on, but we can certainly present it. And so that's the process, and I am in full support of supporting this project and this resolution. The end.
Mhm. So do I have a motion?
And therefore I move that we adopt resolution number 2405.
I will second.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to adopt Custer County Resolution 24-05. Resolution to ban the delivery of internet pornography to minor children under the age of 18. Discussion here at the table.
So, as one of the only people in this room that I think is still raising young children, at the moment, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to any device that my children use, it is so difficult to put any controls. Now we have iOS devices, so at least they're all the same devices. And iOS and Android devices both have some parental controls and some restrictions that you can put in place. But it still leaks through, whether it's on Pinterest, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on, it doesn't matter the platform. And there is so many amazing things that my children go to Pinterest to do for arts and crafts and all that stuff, but it still ekes through. It still comes through in different ways, in the most innocent ways that you're surprised at, you're shocked at, you're mortified over, because you're trying to protect your children at all costs, because the world's coming fast enough at them and for them and through them and to them. And so I would love it if there was a switch, if there was a way that I could go, hey. It stops here, this is where it goes, and nobody in the house can do it, and. Yeah, if other people wanna access that crap, that's it's their opinion or their choice, but, you know, it truly does take a community to raise a child anymore, and we need to protect our children, at, at all cost, and I think our children are our future. Pretty soon, none of us will be sitting here in this room, and it'll be our children and our grandchildren that'll sit here. Or somebody else's children or grandchildren, and we want them to be protected, and we want them to be raised in the best manner possible without having, there's enough struggles that people have, children have in coming into this world and hitting puberty and going through just becoming an adult that we don't, I think if we can do something, or we can start something within Colorado to and within our county to be able to stop or to combat the forward forces of pornography against our children, I think we need to move forward with it, and those are my thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, you heard some of my thoughts. I agree 100%. I like the fact that, you know, that Schroeder did form a foundation, and this is gonna go on with a lot of help from a lot of people that are being involved. And in fact, I know there'll be comments later, but people that have seen this and heard the presentation and understand what the big picture is, are willing to support this wholeheartedly, no matter what party, no matter what religion, no matter what. It's an amazing thing, and I'm proud to be part of working with this. Dwayne.
I guess I would ask you a question just for some verification, because it might have been a little confusing. You said you were willing to take this
right
to the assembly, and
yeah,
if you could elaborate on
sure.
that just a
What
little.
we did some research, and I asked Ann to look into it as well. It's possible we can't, because if we'd have started this, he got started with this project back in November, and if we'd have gotten involved a little sooner, we could have taken it to our caucus process through the processing we normally have. Reason he didn't, it was just got a later start, and so but the opportunity does exist. When, as you know, the counties are allowed to bring to their assemblies, the local county assemblies, and then on to the district, and then on to the state assembly that occurred, resolutions. And we're actually are taking a couple forward to the district already. But from my understanding, it is possible, even though we can't put it as a formal proclamation or resolution to take forward, we can read it and make people aware of it, and then and involve the district initially with the process, and then go on from there with what we propose here is working with the counties through other processes. Next year is another election cycle. The year after that's another one. So whatever time it takes to provide that technical switch and get the groundswell of people to could go to our state legislature and get the same thing passed that you would for alcohol in the beginning, or and especially now for this pornography, to give us the technical ability to ban it across the county, and then have people prove that they're over 18 and can handle it. And that's the process, and that's what I meant by what I said.
I just wanted to let you clarify that,
Thank you
so that
for that.
we knew what assembly you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's I think it's April the 5th, I believe, is the district.
Okay.
So Montana and Utah have also been working on this as a state as well, so.
Yeah.
providing a switch or age verification, so.
Yeah, it starts with age verification, and that's the thing that they have to prove it. Driver's license. Valid. And they gotta figure out how to validate that through the, I mean, they already do it. Driver's licenses are statewide, are, you know, you can speed in Texas and they'll chase you down here. Because of the technology we've got to validate, so. The process has started.
Now to concur with some of your statements as well, sir, as far as how easy it seems for it to be coming in places that you would least expect it. And there does need to be some way to control that. And that needs to be developed and it needs to be put in place, so.
I have one last comment then along that line. We will follow up, I intend to, this, process. And personally in our district, my district, District 1, we'll have town hall. We can do it as a board of directors and have a town hall with all three of us there. I know that El Paso County does that, get the three commissioners together on an issue like this and have a town hall and let them ask questions on the process. So we'll watch this technology evolve. And we'll watch the evolution of getting the counties all engaged to make sure that we can bring something forward to the state. So we'll periodically have our town halls to follow up on this and keep it alive. This isn't a resolution that just have them feel good. And I don't believe any of the resolutions we've passed have done, as long as I've been here, have been that way. But it's not something you just hang on the wall and say, look at us, we signed something.
El Paso has 5 commissioners.
Yeah, they have 5.
Okay.
Did I say 3?
You said 3, so.
The 3 of us, but 5 of them.
Maybe only 3 of them make it. Anything else from here? David?
And all I need is 3, so I guess. All right.
True.
Anything else?
Anything else? I'm good.
No, okay. Public comment. Ann,
I am proudly the host of Liberty Rocks and bringing this topic to the community. It was very enlightening that people began to realize that they had the power to help initiate some corrective action in this situation. As a result of that, there was a lady that could not be here today, Dawn Ramsdale of River Valley Ranch. She asked me to read her letter if I may. Unfortunately, I won't be in Westcliff tomorrow as we have consigned last year's calves to the annual sale in La Junta. Go on. I wish to extend my thoughts and prayers that the people in this community push on with this task. I am adamant that this needs to be addressed in our community and abroad and wish to send my opinion forward. I pray you can read this for me at the meeting and let my concerns and opinion be heard. We, the ranchers on the west side of the tracks here at River Valley Ranch, do not want any children at risk for electronic versions of pornography. We stand tall as proud Americans against such things and believe in God, family, and our country. Please vote yes to push forward with these changes for the betterment of our community and her children. Sincerely, Dawn Ramsdale and Toniesboro with River Valley Ranch. And I also thank you for your consideration on this. I think it will prove to be a very fruitful effort. And another step that goes with this is getting our legislatures to vote on that. So there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. And like Bill says, this is not a resolution that's a cure-all. It's the step forward for the action. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
thank you, Ann. Anyone else here in the room?
Anthony Wheeler. Since the advent of modern media, the advertisers paid for studies in the universities to find out how your mind works. So our adversaries have a complete advantage against us because most of us have no idea how that works. But they know exactly how it works. And then, of course, DARPA, our military, weaponized that process as well. Very well known project called MK Ultra mind control that has taken place. So what we need to do is we need to educate ourselves and protect our children's minds from those attacks. And they're being attacked on multiple fronts. This is just one of them. Social emotional learning is what they find out is that if you focus your mind on emotions, your brain doesn't work. You don't think straight. You have no critical thinking ability. So this is just one item, but there's countermeasures coming out. There's a new book called The Indoctrinated Brain by Michael Nels. It's brand new, and he covers a lot of this in his book. And I recommend that everybody buy the book and read it, at least if you have kids, but it's also for adults as well. So there's things that are coming out. The public is becoming more and more aware of how we're being manipulated through our minds, through modern media. And if we don't protect our children, what are we here for? What are we doing? This is absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. So educate yourself on how your mind works. There's plenty of other resources, but that's probably one of the best out there. The Indoctrinated Brain by Michael Nels. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you. Sir.
Frank Lawson. Unlike the MK Ultra, everything, I think we have at the two common factors. Standard pornography, and then what's being pushed in the schools. As, you know, a curve as to what's acceptable. If you take a platform like Xhamster or YouTube or Google, you can task them they'll find a way to get the eyeballs. And if they have to go through legislation and they have to go through rules, they'll find a way to do it. It's not something to be difficult on our end. If you make it mandatory, you must follow this, they'll find a way. It's no different than the cannabis companies. It's no different than anything out there. So are you 21? You just click on it. They do the bare minimum. With the analytics through Google, through image search, like, what you guys were talking about, where you just find anything on the internet at any given time. That's an analytic. That's a word search. And you see how they censor us. So they have great reach to go in and censor certain things. So I would say, put it on them. In order to get in, they have to do that. And that would control that portion. There's another portion of what's acceptable in a school for education. That's another aspect that needs to be looked at. But for straight pornography, they're greedy. They'll find a way to get eyeballs. And if they have to agree to certain parameters, they'll do it.
Thank you, sir.
John Van Doren, it's hard to argue against this. In fact, it's impossible to argue against this. It's something that we would like to have. I think the first line of defense will always be the parents. And we're hoping for a magic switch. But this is a multi-million-dollar industry, and they're gonna find a workaround. So it's gonna continue to fall back on the parents. Raising the awareness of the issue, I think, is a healthy thing to do for the county. I think it's a long haul, even to get to this first switch. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be hacks and ways to work around. For every middle schooler with a smartphone. But once again, it's gonna be the parents. So you might want to get this information into our papers, just to make more parents aware of this. It's hard to imagine being a parent, because I've been a parent, now a grandparent, not being aware of this. But I'm sure there are some parents that should be more cognizant of the threat. That's all I have, thanks.
Thanks, John, and that's a good point. I did mention the PIO piece for both these resolutions, where we have to be more transparent, and we want to make sure everybody understands what you, the people, want, and that we are trying to react.
James,
James. go
sorry,
ahead.
I'll get you here in a sec.
So the overall, theme and desires of this resolution are great, and it is unfortunate that technology companies aren't really trying to provide parents with the ability to, at the very least, monitor, let alone protect their children from the vultures that are out there for various things. The issue with this resolution, as I see it, is a similar issue with other resolutions that you continually pass, and that is you overreach. Once again, your resolution says, be it resolved that you're going to prohibit the delivery of internet pornography. The county doesn't have any legal authority to regulate the internet. So you can't do that. So it's a meaningless statement. It would be a much more powerful, in my mind, and much more taken seriously if you don't try to overreach what you can do and you focus on the goal of providing information to folks about existing, quote, switches that are out there that are available to people, that there are the parental control programs you can put on your devices and on your children's devices so that you can have some level of control, and then work as a consortium of counties / states, whatever, to ensure that the regulators of internet content, that is the federal government, can insist on those types of controls for access to materials, whatever they be, and come up with the good approaches to do that, whether it be eyeballs, I think was this gentleman's concept. There was the issue, there's a lot of other issues about proving your age, the idea of providing your driver's license number, which is checkable, but that's also hackable, and there goes identity theft. It's hugely complex, but a groundswell from county level of we need additional tools to help us as parents. I'm a grandparent, and well, parent, but not a one that's impacted, but a grandparent, to provide us the tools such that we can effectively not only monitor what our children are looking at, but control it as well. So I fully agree with the aim and purpose of this idea. I just am entirely resistant to the county overstepping its authorities and putting language in resolutions of things they cannot do, and in a sense make us look foolish because we say we think we can. And so that's my comment.
Thank you, sir. Yeah,
I fully agree with what Commissioner
Name,
Kenny
name,
said.
name.
I support the on and off.
Your name, need your name, Jim.
Oh, generally. I fully support that. I also support what Brent said, that they'll find a way. If they find a way to bypass the on and off switch, then they are guilty of breaking the law, and they should be monetarily held responsible, the porn companies. And I think that's the only way to stop them, is to really, really hurt them in the pocketbook. So we do impose extremely strict laws, and if they bypass that switch, it's an automatic fine or whatever. So,
Good point, and that was the whole point why I read that ex-hamster thing, because the state is doing that. They're gonna force them. It depends on the penalties, then they're trying to smoke them. And that's what was meant by the piece here where we were encouraging legislation to do those kinds of things, to control that switch. Just like in the old media with newspapers, you always get around it, right? There's ways to do it, but you had more control as a parent to what you had in your home. The problem with just limiting it just in your home only, kid can go next door and the people next door don't even have kids, and you know, you got those issues. So there's always something that you have to be aware of, but that's the parental duty again, back to the parents. So thank you for the comment.
Ross,
Ron Canterbury, former Valley resident, still live close, but, I raised the three boys, my wife and I did here in this valley in the eighties and nineties, and, we chose to homeschool them for some of the very reasons that you're talking about here. We didn't even have a TV in our home. Several people have mentioned, I think most everybody, ultimately the responsibility falls back on the parents, and I wholeheartedly believe that. Pornography does so many bad things to our communities. It drives the sex trafficking that we are trying to shut down today. Well, maybe only in word, because it doesn't seem to be doing any good. But I believe that we have a responsibility to start. If it's here in Custer County, good for you guys. I was in on helping to adopt one of the very first zoning resolutions in this valley, and it was flawed. But it was a start, and it's changed, it's evolved. And we are using that resolution today in this county, even though it's not the same as it started. So this document may be flawed, but it's a beginning. It's making a stand for what I think we need to stand for. There's gonna be ways of getting around it. But if we don't start standing for something, folks, we're in trouble. And I think I commend you guys, and I hope it passes resolution.
thank you, sir. Anyone else here in the room?
Joni Wilcox, and I want to thank you for taking this into consideration. And I will be very proud if we are the first county to make history and pass this, because it is a first step. But a first step needs to be taken. You cannot continue unless you take that first step. And as Commissioner Epp has pointed out, and Commissioner Kanda, this is a problem that needs to be addressed. Our children are being hit from all angles, especially through electronics. And it is the parents that need to protect their children, but we as a community need to also. And we have great grandchildren in this community. And so we feel that we need to protect them. So I thank you for taking this step.
Thank you. Would you like to read the rest of it?
So I'll go back to Darley Kinney School's email that she sent to the board this morning. So on resolution 24-05 regarding internet pornography is another example of the BOCC allowing a few to speak for all at the drop of a hat, or perhaps better stated, a Liberty Rocks crisis du jour. Of course, we all believe pornography is potentially harmful to children, for goodness sake. But no doubt the employee and attorney hours, plus the time spent even bringing this useless resolution forth as an agenda item is simply money and time wasted. And it makes clear just who pulls sway with our commissioners. I doubt those involved in the propagation of internet porn will be shaking in their boots when this passes. Kanda, maybe you should, relate to or comment to the community on very little of this resolution has been paid for with county money.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, none of it was. And other than the time to sit here in this meeting and time that I take as your commissioner to listen to you. I don't know where we get a few out of this. I talk to people all over. I meet with people. We had over 80 in that one meeting alone for this. That's significant. It's not a handful of people doing useless work. And oh, by the way, blue laws were in existence a long time ago, and that was a county law level. There are still blue county, isn't that what they are? Dry county, dry, not blue laws. Where am I getting that from? Dry counties. That we do legislate, we do make laws. We did zoning. Zoning is another good resolution. We make laws. We are obligated to obey the laws of the state of Colorado, and they give us the power to do that. But I do not work for the governor. I work for you. So do these other two. And we listen. And we make rules and regulations and laws that are in the best interest of you as you present your case to us. That doesn't mean it'll stay the same, just like Mr. Canterbury pointed out, evolve. And this is a great first step, and I hope we evolve it quickly, because I would love to have it in place so that you can opt into it. Go ahead and opt in. If you want it, go get it, but you got to be the right age to get it. So anyway, thanks.
James Gilbert brought up a good point, and the point is, okay, so we've got the far-reaching things, but what can we do here? What can we do today? What can we do tomorrow? What can we do the day after? What is the PIO? What's the public information we need to put out there and get it in the hands of the people? And what's everybody uses a different form of gathering up the information. So how do we get in and especially parents' hands? How do what can we teach them now to put safeguards in place? And then it's not easy. It is hours of time spent on a device, continually locking more and more up, putting more and more restrictions, because all of a sudden you find out, oh, well, they've changed their platform and they've changed all the stuff behind the scenes, that now you have to go in and you have to go, oh, now I need to check this, and now I need to check this box, and now I need to move this restriction level to this level instead of this level. And I've watched my wife spend hours on her children's devices, because there is an abundance of good things as well that we'd like them to have access to, but you've got to lock up 95% to be able to give them 5%. And it's, so I agree with some of what James Gilbert said, and our resolutions sometimes, I think they're great, but we don't put some detail in there of, this is what we need to do, from just a county, just focused on our tiny little village that we have here, and how do we put this information out there and do our educational campaigns or whatever we need to do to get the information out there on some of this stuff. So, and this is definitely different than maybe some of the others. So
yeah,
just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and things are a lot different. I mean, some of us older guys, when we raised our kids, I mean, the computers were just starting to come around, and your cell phone either was in a bag in your car, or then you had a nice flip phone that reminded you of Captain Kirk, beating me up, Scotty, or something. But we didn't have to worry so much about the technology that's around today, that you guys are dealing with. And you see it all the time. You look anything up, or it seems like just having your phone in the room with you, and you talk about something, and all of a sudden you got 50 ads on your phone. because of what was discussed or what you looked for, and, those algorithms that they use, and things play into that so much, and we, is this a perfect document? I'm gonna say no. Rob made the comment, that he was instrumental in moving that one forward, and it's a lot different now. And this would need to be adaptable as well, because every time you put up a roadblock, they develop a detour. And that's been a process throughout time, and, but if you don't throw up the roadblock, it's just like you put a lock on the head gate and you can't shut it down. And, so that would be my 2 cents on that.
Good.
Anyone here in the room that hasn't spoken on this that would like to? Go ahead.
I just want to suggest that obviously nobody's against nobody wants to endorse child pornography. Perhaps you might want to take some time to consider your resolution and rewrite it in a way that incorporates some of the comments that have been here to give it more, not teeth, but ground that we can do right now on it. And rather than talking about the whole thing, like James says, is to rewrite your resolution to be very present. This year, we're going to do this. So that was all.
Okay, and that was Janet, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was-
I hated to interrupt you. You were,
He was on a good roll.
anyone else? I'm not seeing any hands online. Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor to adopt Custer County Resolution 24-05 to ban delivery of internet pornography to minor children under the age of 18. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Okay, I believe I will give us a quick recess. And we will reconvene here in about 5 minutes.
5, huh?
I'm open.
Thanks. Good to see you.
It's good to see you again. I haven't seen you in a long time, sir.
Good to see you.
Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, the time is now 10:59. I will reconvene this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Next item that we have on our agenda is the consideration of donation to the after prom party. That is. Do we know who put that on? By chance?
Roy Baumgartner did.
Okay. I could speak a little bit to it. I know we've donated in past years to the after prom party. They provide activities and different things of that nature. Are the kids required to stay on campus during that? Does anyone know?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I thought so. So they were asking for a donation for that, and I'm not sure what we have done.
Last year we gave him $500, I think, something like
I
that.
think it was 2,500.
I didn't think it was that much.
I don't know. I couldn't.
We'd have to look, but, I don't know, we can do what we think is reasonable now. What are they looking for, do you know?
I don't know.
How many,
I did not speak with him, so that's why I was asking who brought it up, to see if there was a specific ask or anything from them on that.
no, all I heard was whatever we could work. They were looking for donations throughout the community. I don't know, the towns also donated. I don't know.
So we have 8,000 that we budgeted for community outreach under the commissioner's budget this year. So we've used roughly 3,200 of it.
So we're a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, almost halfway through.
It's a worthwhile effort that keeps them out of, back in the old days, they didn't have a prom, and they go out raising cane after the prom on their own.
Mhm.
And now it's a party, they have a party that keeps them safe,
Keeps them there.
keeps a good thing. Worth investing some in, I think, as a county.
I would support it as well. I guess, if we had need a number to consider.
Well, I'll just throw $800 out there. That'll put us at half of our community outreach money, quarter of the way through the year.
Okay.
Is that a motion, sir?
I'll make a motion to donate $800 out of our community outreach fund under the commissioner's budget.
I'll second that.
After prom.
It's a pretty good number, I think. I'll have to look and see what we did last year, but if it's, I don't think it was 2,500.
Well, I know I cut the community outreach budget
Yeah, we did. Okay,
by $6,000.
I'm good with 800.
Okay, so I do have a motion.
I did second that.
Yeah, I heard that. So I have a motion on the floor to donate $800 towards the after prom party to come out of community outreach. Discussion here at the table.
I'm good.
Not for me, sir.
Any public comment on that? And
And Arthur, after the last after prom, I heard mixed feelings about the BOCC supporting that with citizens' money. Hearing that there is a budget item for helping with community outreach, I don't have a problem with that now. I do have a problem with the exorbitant prizes that are given to these kids at after prom. After prom is a great event. I endorse that wholeheartedly, and I helped with my kids after proms. And I even ran this by my kids. Am I being old fogey? Or is this the way of the times that we give away laptops and Xboxes
Well-
and things like that? That's just very exorbitant. I don't have a problem with you supporting it, but that just,
Where did the funds go for that?
from their donations,
From all the donations.
all the donations. Mhm.
So I will say
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
so I went to prom in 94 and 95 as a junior and senior. And the juniors put on the prom for the seniors. Juniors went out and
Class
made
prom.
all the money or went to businesses and asked for the money. Now,
That's true.
this wasn't Colorado, this was Nebraska.
That was the way it always was here too, by the way, a long time ago.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
I
changed.
think
I don't think junior
some of
sponsor
that
anything.
seems to have changed and it's disappointing that has changed because I thought that provided, that was a good experience for me as a junior to work with others, to raise the money, to go to businesses and ask them and then explain why. And I never thought to go ask the county commissioners at that time. I wish I would have had that little nugget in my back pocket there,
That's the problem, we spoil.
but I didn't. And yeah, there was some TVs. I think there was one TV because we had one TV store in all of York County. So, that, that probably was a 24-inch TV. I have no idea.
Yeah, speaking to that, I think a lot of things have changed in that nature and, get you here in a second. But because you see in the choirs and the bands and everything else, their method of fundraising has also changed. And their costs have gone up quite a bit as well, but, and I can't speak to those gifts, if they've approached businesses to have some of that stuff donated as well or not, so, I won't speak to it because I'd be lying to you if I did speak to it. But it seems like everything has changed in the way that they do their fundraising all the way across the board and it's not just Custer County. I've got grandkids in, the Fremont RE1 school district as well, and, they've gotten a fair share of my money as well. But there again, that's grandkids now. Everybody's been talking about them today. So, that would be my comment on that.
So the big prizes, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just give me 1 second. The big prizes are for the seniors to help them as they go to college. They don't just give out Xboxes, it's TVs, it's microwaves, it's bags, it's clothing, gift cards, and the big ones go to the seniors, so.
That does sound more reasonable than what went out last year.
Thanks for that. That's good information.
Anthony Wheeler, it seems like a real cultural shift that we now buy our kids love and they have to have stuff rather than experiences. And I think fostering that is a mistake. I don't think it's the county's responsibility. If they're getting those kind of things, they probably have plenty of money. So I think it's a waste of our resources when we should probably provide something like information about how to keep them off porn on the internet.
Thank you.
Jim Wilmington. I graduated in 71, 1971, not 18, I know I look like it. We held a carnival and we raised so much money that our 10-year reunion, we had thousands of dollars left over to produce a reunion. It would be my suggestion that instead of giving them money, which is never, gifts are never appreciated. When something's free, give them ideas as how to earn money for their projects, like you said, and they're getting ready to step out in the real world. Let them start learning now what it's like to start making money. And I think that would be a very valuable lesson for our youth. I'm all for helping them out. I love children and I'm all for helping them out, but I think we should give them a hand up rather than hand out.
Sure.
I agree. I think, it would be nice to, do that and maybe we ought to do a little research for the next year for sure, but maybe we invite him to be an intern sitting on a board of commissioners meeting for some learning experience and some, something else, get them thinking.
Well, and I did talk to a couple in the community that would donate a vehicle that they would weld the doors back on. They strip down vehicles and sell the parts, so they would, and bring some sledgehammers, and man, I'd like to pay $20 to take a few whacks at a vehicle on certain days. So, but I think that's something the community would get back for. I've been part of those before. You could generate a lot of money, and yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I agree.
I think probably they could contact the car wash owner and set up on different Sundays or Saturdays to just sit there and wash people's cars for the tips and
Or in case of Custer County, peel the mud off.
get rid of the West Coast. I don't know, whatever it is. There's lots of ideas out there. There's lots of ways to earn that money and have some real satisfaction that, man, we re-up, we did it just one step better than the juniors before us, who are now seniors.
Well, we did too. Same thing. Put the crate paper up and everything.
Those might be good ideas to present to the school board or something to consider.
Just change the way they're
and,
doing
not quite something that we can decide, for that.
it. And we can
but,
decide not to.
I
do
like
it.
that. And
It's a good idea.
I agree as well. I guess my point would be that this is to help support the party. I don't know if some of that goes towards these gifts or whatever, but to provide a place for these kids to be and to do their partying under better circumstances than going out and sitting around a keg and driving off the edge of the road on your way home or something like that. Probably not an appropriate comment, but I am not too old to remember those days as well. So, it gives them a safe venue to provide this activity for them, and that's where I am at on this. So. Anything else? Nothing online. So I do have a motion on the floor to approve a donation for the after prom party in the sum of $800 to come out of community outreach. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Next item would be consideration of the intergovernmental agreement with Fremont County for weed control. I think most everyone is aware that we've struggled the last few years to have the weed board in place. They haven't been able to seat a quorum, and we're in the process of trying to get a weed board in place again. And we also need, besides the board, we need a weed manager and sprayer. Fremont County, and I'm trying to, now that I want to speak about her, I lost her name. Brittany Pierce in Fremont County is their weed manager, and she has agreed to take that role on in Custer County for this year and has presented us with an IGA. Dan had looked at it. He changed some of the terminology in there, and basically just to verify which county was which, and clean up the verbiage, did not change anything major on that. I would also note that, the Custer County Conservation District is, discussing whether or not they would be willing to actually take on the role of our weed board in Custer County. A couple of their members actually are people that were members of our weed board. So they kind of know what they're getting in for there. This IGA is kind of open-ended. It is renewable if it needs to take place in following years. And there are the monetary part is not a part of this IGA here. That is something to be negotiated if this IGA passes. But it is giving us the opportunity to have Brittany come up and do our roadside spraying, our county properties. And also, as a weed manager, they also then investigate if there's weeds showing up on private property, and giving information on how they can take care of those weeds. And there's an enforcement aspect to that as well. And then I believe we may have a college student that is very interested in this field that would possibly shadow her this year and kind of learn that. Would you guys like for me to read the IGA? I don't know that any of that was.
I move we accept the IGA as approve the agreement for weed control with Fremont County.
I would second that. And as part of discussion, I will read this just so everybody is aware of what's in it.
It's that.
I guess I should have the right one instead of reading that. Thank you. Didn't look right. This agreement made and entered into this 27th day of March 2024 by and between the County of Custer, State of Colorado, whose address is 205 South 6th Street, West Cliff, Colorado, hereinafter referred to as Custer, and the County of Fremont, State of Colorado, by and through the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Fremont, whose address is 615 Macon Avenue, Canyon City, hereinafter referred to as Fremont. Whereas Custer wishes to have Fremont perform weed control and weed treatment services on various properties located within the boundaries of Custer, which are hereinafter referred to collectively as Custer properties. And whereas Fremont is agreeable to rendering such services pursuant to the terms and conditions hereinafter set forth. And whereas agreements between Fremont and other governmental entities are authorized and provided for by the provisions of section 29-1-203 CRS. Now, therefore, Fremont agrees to provide weed control services on Custer properties according to the following terms and conditions. Number one, Fremont shall spray weeds and perform other weed control and enforcement activities on Custer properties as designated by Custer in the same manner as similar activity by Fremont on Fremont County-owned properties, including road rights-of-way outside of the boundaries of surrounding Custer. Custer understands that Fremont County properties lying within the boundaries of Fremont County shall be given priority. Fremont is authorized by Custer to exercise statutory enforcement powers upon privately owned lands within Custer County, as authorized in the Noxious Weeds Act 35-5.5-101. Custer agrees to pay Fremont for the weed control services it renders on Custer-owned lands in an amount to be determined by the parties prior to performance of any work. Fremont shall submit a proposal to Custer for acceptance and approval before such work begins, and thereafter shall bill Custer on an annual basis for those services which have been performed in said period. All personnel performing the services will have licenses, and certifications as required by law or regulation. Fremont will comply with all applicable laws and regulations in the performance of the services and will perform the services in a safe manner. No portion of this agreement shall be deemed to constitute a waiver of any immunities the parties or their officers or employees may possess, nor shall any portion of this agreement be deemed to have created a duty of care which did not previously exist with respect to any person not a party to this agreement. Specifically, no portion of this agreement shall be interpreted to constitute a waiver of any provision of the Colorado Governmental Immunities Act, CRS 24-10-101 by either party. This agreement shall exist perpetually from the effective date from the date of signing of this agreement unless terminated by either Fremont or Custer, providing the party seeking to terminate this agreement gives the other party 10 days written notice prior to the date of said termination. The parties hereby agree that neither has made or authorized any agreement with respect to the subject matter of this instrument other than expressly set forth herein, and contained shall be binding on either party, its agents or employees hereunto. This agreement embodies all agreements between the parties hereunto, and there are no promises, terms, conditions, or obligations referring to the subject matter whereof other than as contained herein. If any term or provision of this agreement or the application thereof to any person or circumstances shall to any extent be held invalid or unenforceable, the remainder of this agreement or the application of such terms or provisions to a person or circumstances other than those as to which is held invalid or unenforceable shall not be effective, and every other term and provision of this agreement shall be deemed valid and enforceable to the extent permitted by law. Number 8, it is expressly understood and agreed that the enforcement of the terms and conditions of this agreement and all rights of action relating to such enforcement shall be strictly reserved to the undersigned parties, and nothing in this agreement shall give or allow any claim or right of action whatsoever by any other person not included in this agreement. It is the express intention of the undersigned parties that any entity other than the undersigned parties receiving services or benefits under this agreement shall be an incidental beneficiary only. In witness whereof, the parties hereunto have agreed as set forth herein, the date and year set forth above, and then signature lines. Any discussion here at the table?
Similar to what we had with Warfin.
Yeah, and we've got to get the pit sprayed here before the 1st of May, because that's the deal we made with the state, so.
They extended it to then, and that's a hard deadline to get that spraying done, or they will impose a fine.
And Brittany Pierce with Fremont has been been great to work with. I don't think this is a long-term solution. So I know she is busy as well. I was given a name last night of somebody who may be interested, so I need to reach out and see if that's a possibility. And they would be willing to get their license, because that has to be in place.
So possibility for next year.
But we have a college student that's coming back that's, maybe willing to do it as well is also a possibility. So, and the person that may shadow Brittany on this for this. So it opens up some possibilities that we definitely need to stay on top of in moving forward and bringing this in-house and getting that board back to functioning, so. Because it is a state statute, that we control our weeds.
Oh, yeah.
Stay on top of them.
He's still giving us 250 per person to divvy out.
We still have some of that grant money. In fact, we have a large percentage of that grant money that's left. And it's a match. Or whatever they do, we'll pay up to $250 of it, so,
Yeah.
for private homeowners.
Right.
So,
And yes, we do have that grant carries through July, I believe, of this year. And,
I think it's December, sir.
okay.
I think so.
You're
We'll have to,
probably-
let's really look at that, but I think it was December.
July was somewhere else in that document then.
Started in July of last year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and that is I do have a call with the state where the agency where that grant is from
Okay.
later today.
Okay.
So we will be on the phone, I will be on the phone with them. If anyone else would like to sit in on that, you're welcome. And then, like I said, also the Conservation District is looking at least in the short interim, taking on the role of weed board.
Okay.
That is not a decision that has been made.
Okay.
I would like to iterate that, so.
I don't know if that's possible.
I think they meet the acreage requirements, the people on their board, that was discussed the other night. But that's something that we would need to look at
See if it's legal.
if it's, if they can act in that capacity. I know, Bob there is looking into that. So. Which, in the short term, if that is something that we can do, it would help us, I think they would be able to see the quorum and make decisions, whereas our previous board was not able to do that, and so, lots of different steps going different directions to try to pull everything together here. And this is one of them.
And the Colorado revised statute would also allow the 3 commissioners or 5 commissioners to be the weed board as well. So
Yes,
that is a possibility as well, so.
anything else from here?
No other comments from me at the time,
Okay,
at this moment, yeah.
public comment. Don't see none. Those in favor of approving, I did not see any online. Those in favor of approving the IGA with Fremont County, for weed control as read here today, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a discussion / consideration of a response to the Siskin reclamation application. I put this on the agenda that was posted here the other day. And part of my meeting there at the Conservation District is they asked if we wanted them to support us or anything in any response that we might have. I brought this forward. Initially, I was thinking it was out off of Rosita Road across from the landfill, but that is a different permit.
This is a different one.
This one here actually sits, I believe, within the boundaries of Silver Cliff.
It's the pit back here.
So it'd be,
T-Zax, the pit, is that yellow limestone. They call it the Indian Sunset.
Oh, the Indians.
that's the one now that they're already hauling from that. I believe this may be to open up another section of that ground back there to be able to mine. And I have.
So do you have something from them, Kevin? It says,
I thought reclamation was. we were gonna
it's
turn
dozing it
back.
in and turning it back to
Back to
normal, and
normal.
then they,
So-
but they're probably gonna open up something else Because I don't know.
I think they have to have a reclamation plan even when you open up a new permit.
Right.
Uh,
It's in reclamation, maybe so.
hopefully it was good enough to get this from Chris for me. And it is in this section here, I believe it's this particular section is what they now have as their pit, and their access is through Silver Cliff coming in and past the cemetery.
It's also off to the road going to Lake Louise. You can go in either way.
This is actually on the south side of the highway.
So, yeah.
This is 96.
Yeah. Oh,
And so they're coming in,
Okay, they're
that's
coming
where
in
the
that way.
trucks are turning in right after you come into town.
yeah, okay, you're right.
And they're
I see
coming
it.
in that way to access it.
Forget Silver Cliff.
They had-
owns half the county.
They had tried to get a easement to come in from the north off of the highway. That has been denied, I believe, by
Silver Cliff Land and Cattle.
Silver Cliff Land and Cattle. Thank you for that. Which would have
Yeah, you're right.
helped Silver Cliff out tremendously. It would have kept the trucks out of coming in through the town and going through those smaller roads. So there's an existing pit there. I did not know. I wanted to bring it to our attention because the 30-day comment period is open now since it was posted in the newspapers last week, I believe.
So this just a discussion, we're not.
This is a discussion or a consideration if we wanted to make a comment. I apologize, I did not get a hold of Buck before today to see what their response is or anything of that nature, but I know this will affect them more than us, but I wanted to make sure that we were aware of it, so in case we did want to provide comment.
Need more data.
Okay. And I will try to get some more put together. It's and it's a permit, it's noticed, the notice is the consideration of construction materials reclamation permit conversion. And it is for the Siskin mine file number N 1987-116 Colorado Quarries. And we'd be advised on February 20th, 24. Colorado Quarries, his address and telephone number, gives their address and phone number from Canyon City. File an application for permit conversion to this permit system, which is located approximately 3 miles southeast of Silver Cliff in section 26, township 22 south, range 72 west, on the 6th principal meridian in Custer County. It's a 110C to a 112C conversion. I do not know that terminology, so that's some of that information we would need to gather. The application decision is scheduled for May 20th, 2024. Written comments or objections to the application may be submitted to, and additional information obtained from Eric C. Scott at the Division of Reclamation, Mining and Safety in Denver.
That must be the gypsum or vermiculite mine that's out there. I don't know. We just need to know.
Okay. Colorado Quarries is required to publish public notice in the newspaper. And then if you wish to make comments or objections to the mine plan or the reclamation plan, then that should be submitted within 20 days. So I said 30, so I stand corrected there. Of the date of the last newspaper public notice. So if you'd like, I could reach out.
When does the 30 days end?
I think their first publication was last week, so this week would probably be their last publication. I think they were required to do it once per, they have to do it once per week for 4 consecutive weeks, so it will probably start in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that would give us another 14 days, so it would be 34 days.
Okay.
And I can reach out, and try to get some information, more information to bring to us, if you guys would like me to.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'd like to look into it now.
So, and for my comments, I believe there is a pending application off of Rosita Road that would be, I believe, just east of the landfill, north and east of the landfill. That is coming up as well. So, anything else on this today? No. Okay. If anybody would like to look at this map when we're done here, I will have it available for everyone to look at. That was our last item of business on the agenda. Any additional items of business?
None here.
No, I probably should have said this during my commissioner items, but what more meetings have been moved to? Basically, we're gonna have 3 more down there. June, August, and October. And those are on the calendar now. Board of Health has been moved to, and those are scheduled out every 3 months. I believe starting. So we're gonna have one today, and then we're going. I think May. I don't know, every 3 months. I don't know the specific dates. I'll get the specific dates and I'll have those in my commissioner items next week.
Okay,
So,
and I will get a copy of the changes for the meetings for those in Wetmore.
Okay.
Because after our meeting down there last week, Nan approached me, I think you were aware of that I have not provided that to them down there, so that was not posted.
okay,
So she was not aware of those meetings, so
okay,
I'll make sure that I get those posted at the community building.
thank you.
Anything else?
No, so.
Public comment.
I'm sorry, I'm very hard of hearing, so I missed part of the weed thing. Is it too late to comment on that?
At this public comment, you can comment on anything you want to, so
Okay.
you can do that.
Don't expect us to answer.
I haven't used my timer all day, but I'm gonna use it for this part, so go ahead.
About 30 years ago, I guess, I was incarcerated for failure to appear for a traffic violation. And the judge imposed a sentence on me for 40 hours of community service. And I was just wondering if you couldn't, I know you're only part of the IGA, but if you couldn't suggest that rather than using chemicals and all sorts of things like that for weed control, we take some of these people that have broken the law and use them as manual labor using our posse, which is free. They're volunteers, using them to oversee the manual labor and allow them to take care of a lot of the weed control for free.
That's a great idea. We've actually done that in the past, Jim,
Have
before
we?
you were here, and we had the trustees here when we had the jail here. Doing the mowing and gardening and stuff around the courthouse. And had a posse member watching.
It's a little more difficult at the present time because we now house our inmates in
Yeah.
Fremont County.
And they're trying to keep them locked up.
And now they're not letting them out of the facility because of the issue they had with those 2 trustees this last month, I believe it was, that went for a walkabout. And they captured them right away, but they went out to take the trash out and kept going. And so now they have tightened up their security and not letting them out. I would say, I know Road and Bridge has used a couple of times the inmate crews from DOC. We've used them for, not on weeds, but we've used them for trimming of trees and brush along our roadways, and also when we put the fence up in Wetmore around the county shop, they came and did that for us, so.
Those
But
that have
I said I
community.
was incarcerated. I wasn't. My sentence was public service.
Yeah,
But we could pick and choose which ones.
and we utilize some public service, I can't speak to up here, I can speak to the Wetmore area. Alden Gray down there is actually the one that facilitates that, and we get a lot of community service around the community building down there. And, the community down there, and he is the authorized. He has to sign off on their time and everything when they come in, so I don't know what the terminology for that would be, but some of that does take place through the community service as well.
No, but it's worth looking into, because we do have people that need to serve their community service, so we've used them. In the past, from what I understand, we've used them to clean up the trash around the landfill and stuff like that, so. No, not a bad idea. Thanks, Ben.
Anyone else? James?
James Gilbert, a couple of things. One is, I'm concerned about the resolution process a little bit. For instance, resolution 2405 got on the agenda yesterday morning, as far as I know. But the resolution itself wasn't available till much later in the day. And it says on the agenda that any documentation for presentation to be presented must be sent in 24 hours in advance. So we didn't get that 24 hours in advance, but be that as it may, it seems to me 24 hours isn't enough time for either the public or you three to adequately consider the contents of a resolution before you vote on it. So if it would, well, I would suggest that resolutions for consideration, that is, you're gonna vote on them, be published a week in advance, such that the public and yourselves have sufficient time to research items in the resolutions and be able to make reasonable comment thereon. The second thing was, I think I just heard Lucas mention there's a Board of Health meeting today.
Actually, I was gonna talk about that here in a bit. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be tomorrow, so that could get the time. He didn't have the time posted soon enough in the agenda, so he's gonna try to do it tomorrow, is what he just asked me here.
I will not be in attendance, sir.
Yeah, I don't know my schedule.
Well, let's take a look at it. We can adjust it now because it's not after a meeting, so it's up.
I take it that was gonna be your follow-up on that.
Yeah.
Right.
But it
because I
wasn't
didn't see
posted.
the
Then there wasn't one posted. So.
Okay,
So that was that. So then I'm done.
okay, thank you, sir.
We'll talk about that.
Good comment, I appreciate that on the
Yeah, thank you.
resolutions.
James.
And I would speak just shortly on that. Any documentation coming to us for something that's being put on the agenda in regards to department heads and supporting documentation needs to be to us 24 hours prior so that we can have that opportunity. That's not necessarily that it's posted out there 24 hours in advance, but I agree, especially like on these resolutions and things of that nature, that that would be good so that everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll make comment on that too, and that's true. Although circumstances, push us sometimes to do it shorter than 2 days or whatever it is. And in fact, I was busy saving county money and typed that up myself and did the work on it. So,
We'll put it on the next meeting.
couldn't because the circumstances said it had to be now in order to make if we were gonna approve it, to get it to the state sooner, to actually start the action to do things. Sometimes, all my point is circumstances drive us.
Anything else? Sure.
Yeah, I want to talk about, the most important issue that we face, not only in the county, but in the country. And that is our fraudulent election voting systems. I've traveled around the country to many, different seminars and spoke to many different people, watched thousands and thousands of hours of videos. Very prominent people who have been investigating and finding all the vulnerabilities in these machines. It's well known, and you can find it on Cause of America. You can go to the professor's notes. David Clements, who has a movie called Let My People Go, that talks about this stuff. We do not have a republic any longer since these machines. It's impossible to have a republic. We, the people, cannot choose our leaders. Therefore, we have no republic. This country doesn't stand any longer. That's the fact, an absolute fact. Now, you guys took an oath to the Constitution. The Constitution states, Article 4, Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government. We don't have one. We're no longer a republic. Are you guys gonna uphold your oath and remove these machines so that we can get our republic back? We need to restore our republic. That's what we need to do. So I'm gonna talk about your oath a bit because I think that's the most important thing. Everybody who takes an oath to the Constitution this starts at the federal government. If they don't do their job, it moves down to the state. The state doesn't do their job, it comes down to the county, which is where you are. But the county doesn't do its job, it comes down to we the people. And when it gets to we the people, it's a bloody mess. And that's where we're at. We talked about the invasion of our country. We've got millions and millions and millions of invaders in this country. If you think that there aren't caches of weapons for them to use, you're mistaken. Our country is about to go through the most hell we've ever seen. Thank God we don't have that many invaders in Custer County. But the federal government will be overwhelmed. In fact, they're complicit in all of it. They're complicit in the computers. I'm here to try and save you. Because when that happens, people are gonna come after you because you didn't uphold your oath. They're coming for you. They're coming for everybody who didn't uphold their oath. That's what's gonna happen in this country. So, the significance of your oath is, you made a promise to every single person in the country when you took that oath to uphold the Constitution. Every single person. And then at the very end, you ask God for help. So help me God. I've dedicated my life to doing God's work. I'm here as his representative to say uphold your oath for your own very safety, but for the people of this country. Get rid of those machines. Cause of America, Mike Lindell has a group of people, they have a whole plan to put the new system in to ensure that we'll have fair elections. That's what we need. That's what we need, because we don't have a country. It's up to you to restore the country, and then it's gonna be up to us. And as I've described, that's not so good. The hour's getting late. It's very late. All of us are at risk, not just you. but all of us are at risk. We've been at risk for 20 years. While we were all sleeping, we put these machines into place, and now we have a federal government that's basically working for Satan. Just look at what they're doing. They've allowed this invasion. It's an invasion that on section 4 continues. And shall protect each of them against invasion and on application that not unnecessary, against invasion. They have abdicated their responsibility completely. In fact, they facilitated it. They're passing these budgets of trillions and trillions of dollars. They're paying all these illegals, putting them up in fancy hotels, paying for their food, phones, health insurance, all these things. What do you think is going to happen when they stop paying them? They're coming for all of our resources. All these major big cities are all going to be just torn apart. And I'm not kidding. This is serious. Millions. It took 3% of the American population to win the Revolutionary War against the greatest army there ever was. We've got far more illegal immigrants, invaders, percentage-wise in this country today.
You
Far
good to
more.
go ahead and wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to do your oath because God heard what you said. And you're gonna be accountable to him. We all prayed in this room today, so I know you all believe in God. You asking for help, I'm here to help you. I'm telling you, I've sent Kelly Camper many things 3 years ago about it. She decided to not pay any attention. So you're gonna be complicit by willful neglect. Remember that term, complicit by willful neglect. And that's how people are gonna
Thank you.
see you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Anyone else? None online? Being the case, I will adjourn this meeting at 11:51 a.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.